Welcome to What We Thought Would Happen.
Hi. We have a guest today.
Yay.
You want to be called Elizabeth?
Liz is good, but
Okay.
I did have a whole conversation with myself about my name today.
I want you to be, don't you want to be, can't we introduce you as Elizabeth Astrof?
You can. I don't know if anybody would know. I have such low self-esteem that I would never make anyone call me
Your actual name.
full
Your
name.
actual fucking name.
Also, if there was a fire, I wouldn't make it out because they'd be like, "Oh, Elizabeth."
Is that bad?
But I don't have the self-esteem to call myself Elizabeth.
Well, I
And
do.
my brother
I think you're
ruined
great.
Lizzie and Beth.
Uh-huh.
So now it's like a Liz.
Yeah, Liz is
Name
great
name.
though.
Really? I don't
Yeah,
think so.
Liz Carpenter.
Oh, that's true.
All right, Elizabeth. We're here with Elizabeth Astrof, who should have tons of self-esteem because she's brilliant, she's funny, she's a great writer, and I loved your book, Elizabeth,
Thank you.
called "Stay at Work, Mom,"
Yes.
and which is great. And you know, Daniel, Elizabeth, and I have had some really harsh times
So wait.
writing for shows.
This
but
is my
Yes.
first time meeting Liz. When did y'all meet?
Did we meet before Two Broke Girls?
Was
Like
it-
through my brother or something on a pilot, maybe?
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
But we met because I was always a huge fan of yours.
Mhm.
And we met on Two Broke Girls, I think. But I was
Yeah.
like I was like had like a fan, like a starstruck moment.
Oh my
Mhm.
lord!
I know, I did. I totally did.
Oh,
Laura
come
had a
on.
live show, and it was one of those things like, I can't believe I'm on a show with Laura Kightlinger.
It's amazing.
Especially because she actually kills. You know what
She
I mean?
kills,
Like,
yes.
Wow.
Oh
But
my God,
Elizabeth,
you do.
wait a second.
And then we
but
did
you
the
had
cabaret
done-
together.
Yeah, we did. That's right.
But I
And-
did that after.
But you also do really well on stage too. Elizabeth is a really funny comic, but she also writes, a lot of stuff, and just had a pilot. You told me something about that was really chilling about what the execs said. If you feel like repeating it,
When I first wrote Pivoting, may it rest in peace, it was, I sent the script to these female executives, I won't say, but they read the script. And this was like right when Big Little Lies had just aired and A Handmaid's Tale had just come out. So this was so long ago. And they said, first of all, I wrote it on spec. They said, "You're such a good writer." And at that point, I wrote in my laptop, "They hate it. I'm so sad."
yeah.
So I was like, well, they said it pains us to say that nobody wants to see women on TV, especially women who are 40. And then I was like, well, they said we have so many scripts that we love, and they wind up being no's. And I said, this has to be a yes, or I'll take it somewhere else. I went because I did a handstand in yoga that day for the first time. And I was like,
See, yeah, you weren't going to take no
like,
for an
I
answer
did a
that
fucking
day. Yeah.
handstand. I'm a boss. Meanwhile, I write at the Coral Tree, like this little restaurant, and they hate me there with my keys around my neck and like my snacks that I bring. So,
Do you actually
I'm
get
a
work
badass.
done at the restaurant when you work?
No. Well, what happens is I do also help bus tables. I always wind up helping bus tables, and I do tip a lot. But what happens is I fuck around for hours and hours and hours, and then I'll start working and hear the change in the cash register, and then I'll look and I'll see that like even the mat in the bathroom is outside. I
time to
always
go.
leave after the mat. Always.
You go at night.
I go in the day.
Oh, okay.
But I have kids, so I don't go home.
You got to go.
and it's across the street from their elementary school, which up until last year. And I would always say to the moms, because they would go there beforehand to have coffee before pickup. And I would just say, don't tell my kids I'm here. I would hide. One day my daughter drove by me and I heard like, "Mommy," and I didn't answer because I was just like, she'll just think it's someone else. Another pear-shaped mom.
I feel like I would be hiding from my kids if I had
You
kids.
would.
Right? Like
you
there's
have to. It's self-preservation.
precisely. Like I totally sympathize with like the dad in the garage with the bong. Like I get it.
Oh my God. Oh, so my stay-at-home mom friends now, because our kids are all like 12 and older, are losing their shit.
Because,
They're the most risque, like scandalous. They give me all of my entertainment. And I'm like, I'm the bad mom. I'm the bad mom. But they're all like losing their shit now. So the thing about the car though, is that my husband was watching a movie in his car in the garage. And he has a Tesla, but the old little one. He's had it's tiny. But he was watching a movie in there to get away from us. And you can watch Netflix in there.
Yeah.
And my daughter had 2 girls sleeping over and she was asking me for something. And I go ask daddy. So she goes outside. They're outside by the car. She calls me. I go outside. Then my son comes out looking for me. And we're all fighting around the car, fighting over ice cream.
This is a
I know.
nuclear family. Yeah.
Oh.
And then he's this poor guy, whatever. But you want to watch a movie? Don't have kids.
Yeah.
Can you
I
asphyxiate?
thought it was going to be like porn or something. If he's just
Yeah,
watching
like
a movie.
buses.
No,
Yeah,
he's
I know.
watching like,
QVC.
I don't know. What's a movie?
I don't know any movies.
Just like
I don't know any anymore.
Can you
Like Top
asphyxiate
Gun.
yourself, the old-fashioned way with a Tesla?
No,
You
no,
can't.
No, and I have a story about this too. Can I
Because
tell
I would,
it?
would that be
Yes,
a bummer?
please.
Like you're sitting in the car for hours and still alive.
This is the opening of my movie that I'm not going to write because I'm lazy. But it's me.
Because I still might do it.
If we
It's
just,
me. I still might. It'll be written about me. It's me waking up in the morning to my husband being like, "What are you doing? They have to go to school," and me saying, "Fuck." I tried to kill myself, and him not believing me, and me saying, "Is there a banana in the muffler?" And him saying, "No." "Oh, yes, but you can't kill yourself in this car. It's electric." And then I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "You have to like bring like a hibachi in there. That's what you should do. You should light it. You should like." So we're brainstorming on how I should kill myself for a good 10 minutes. And then I'm on my way to school with them. And I'm like, I have like a horrible headache from thinking I was dead. And I'm like, Mommy has such a bad headache. Just please. And then it was about like her assistant needs to kill her by the end of the day. Then she decides to live because it's a Hallmark movie. And then
There's
it's
money in that.
Christmas. And then I know.
There
and
is,
then,
though.
But yeah, you can't. So you can't.
My favorite one of my favorite Charles Adams cartoons is this wife walking on a husband, and he's hung himself, but his arm is stuck in the noose, like tangled in the noose, and the wife is just looking at him, and the caption just says, like, "Damn it, Charles, can't you do anything right?" Which I love. It's like, how long was he hanging there, like needing help? But he's a husband, so he's not going to ask for help. You know what I mean? So he's just dangling from a chandelier.
Can't do anything. That's so funny.
I want to go back to the story of women saying
Yes.
nobody wants to see women, but you're women over 40, and I don't believe that's true because who the hell else watches TV
Also,
except
who told you
Exactly.
a
people?
woman say that to you?
Three women said that to me.
Betrayal.
And then
Yeah.
totally.
Betrayal.
And also, I was like, no, too bad. And 7 years later,
There we
that
go.
show was on.
See?
7 years.
But
though.
that's-
I dug it up from the grave constantly. And people were like, you have to let it go. But I consider it my laziness because I didn't want to write something. I've written
question-
stuff, but
How do you feel about that? Because it's like you give, you know what I mean? Like you give your idea to projects to people, or you like
Right.
shop it around and stuff, and maybe it's no, but it's like still something you want to work on, or it's still
know.
there. So do you just say goodbye? Like maybe you even had an offer on something. What do you do?
if you pitch something and it doesn't sell, then it's just over. But you put all of this into it, and then you get a million rounds of notes, and then it doesn't go anywhere. It's like you're mourning something. It's terrible. It's over, which is kind of why I wrote my book, because I was on Whitney at the time, and I had another pilot that didn't go, and I just thought, I just want to write something that's mine.
Right.
So I took a class at UCLA Extension, which was so fun. We had a party at the end of the year, and everybody brought stuff. Like, it was like that.
That's cute.
And we read our essays out loud, and yeah, it was fun. So that's why I did that. So it would be mine. But yeah, it just goes away. And also, the executives have a million things going on. So they're not like crying in a
Right.
ball.
It's just another thing. I was at a meeting at MTV, which was stupid in the first place, but I was
Why?
there. Why was it stupid?
Yeah.
Well, because I felt out of place to begin with. And I'm like, they're pitching ideas. And then every idea I said, she's like, that sounds a little mature for our audience. And she said mature like 3 times, which it was offensive. But then finally I was like, so what's your age? What's your demographic? And she's like, well, our viewers mostly are like 14 to 19. I was like, that is very young. She goes, but the people who like want to be 14 to 19 and emulate that are like 9 to 13. I was like, so that's your audience? She's
Oh
like,
my
that's
God,
our
that's-
demographic. They
That's Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Right, but they want to get them early, right? They want to turn them into the MTV view or whatever, you know, the like plant the seeds kind of a
so
thing.
interesting.
Right, but that was shocking. I was like, a 9-year-old doesn't want to hear from my faggot ass. Like
Sure
they're not
they
there
do.
yet.
Oh, yes, they do.
They're not there. They do.
I will find
Like
one.
magical gunkle vibe, but like that's it. You know what I mean?
The Gunkles.
It's out
God.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when you're in a room like that and like 4 or 3 ladies are telling you that nobody wants to hear from you over 40.
Well, we were on the phone. So I was at the Coral Tree and I walked outside and left all my shit there. And I was like, look.
And they locked the door at the Coral Tree.
Yeah,
so you
they
wouldn't come
locked
back.
it. The chair, when they passive aggressively put the chairs upside down, I'm like, okay, I'm leaving.
That is a sign. As a former waitress, that is a definite sign.
Oh, yeah, I was a
Just
waitress, too.
Stacking chairs, yeah.
I was the worst waitress.
It's kind
I
of
actually had people talking about it when they left all the time. I
Ah.
was the worst waitress.
bad in what way?
Like I would ask them to read stuff off of my pad and be like, "Is this Puttanesca? What did you order? I can't read this." And then also I forgot stuff all the time, and I would drop stuff. And also I worked at this Jones Beach restaurant for a while, and it was so much fun. It was all college kids, and it was a concert. It's a concert venue, so people would come in and we'd get slammed right before the concert, and they would just say like, "We're in a rush." "Oh, really? We're in a rush?" "Oh, okay." So anyway, so I was slow, but also runners would bring the actual food out. So we just had to put it in the thing.
Yep.
And I would have to bring the drinks. So I would walk away before they ordered drinks. And then I would hear, "Excuse me." And literally I would hunch over, slump over like I was dying, and then turn around in that position and walk back to the table and be like, "What?"
No.
So, and I lost my checks all the time. People don't change. That's what I'm realizing. 'Cause I'm still the same way.
That's the same person.
What about you? Oh, and then I worked at the comic strip.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
What?
I worked
as a server?
Yes.
That's so hard.
It was. And then I did stand up there a couple of times, like in the, no one was there when it was closed. But,
Wait, was Lucian
no, it
Holt?
wasn't closed. Lucian was there.
I liked him so much.
I did it. He's dead, right? Didn't he harden? He had that hardening thing.
Didn't he
What?
hard?
He turns into
Turn to stone?
Well,
what
sometimes
the
I guess if
fuck?
you're dead for a while, that happens.
They do turn.
What's that story in the Bible? Oh, that's salt. That's
He did. He
sorry.
turned to stone. He had that.
Oh, it's like Lou Gehrig's or some shit.
Yeah. So he's like turned into like a pencil.
Mhm.
But I went.
But your brain still works.
That's the worst.
Yeah,
I want
your
my brain
is
to go
still
first, and it looks like it's
gone.
happening.
Yeah, I want to be jelly from the inside out. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's great. It's just hard for the people around you, but I think it's better if you're out of it.
But someone who else just like fell asleep, died in their sleep or something.
That's the best way to
like
do it.
Whitney Houston fell asleep in a bathtub full of water.
Oh my God,
Sounds
what's wrong with
great.
that?
Sounds great.
I mean,
Saget.
my husband didn't let me
Bob Saget.
die in my sleep. You know that.
I would,
Yes,
yeah.
I do know that story.
I'm saying.
Bringing it up.
Okay,
She is
all right, I'm
furious.
just saying.
She is
Like,
furious.
I
You're
could've,
so
you know.
funny.
Right?
Oh my
Anyway.
God. You
How did that
tried.
feel? What is it like to wake up realizing you could be dead? Are you like,
You know what? I felt really like a few after I got out of the hospital. I remember standing in the living room and feeling just like, oh, you know, really feeling down, like, oh, you're just here and then you're not.
yeah,
Yeah,
light on,
it
light
felt
off.
really weird.
Did
know?
you
Yeah.
see any godlike anything?
Or dead famous people?
No.
Or no one? There's no like near death experience? Because I watch all those TED Talks about
Yeah.
people who like saw.
It's
who,
a thing.
It was like the best feeling they've ever had.
So
was
this
and then
is-
they were dead for a minute.
Do you know Coast to Coast? It's a fucked up like AM radio show. I know you. It's like
Yeah.
Art Bell
Yeah.
used to host it. George Norrie, right, was the guy. It's like a petri dish for MAGA people now, so it's like not the best thing. But they had a show once which was children with near death experiences, and a psychologist or psychiatrist who like interviewed them about it.
Yeah.
And those kids would say the craziest shit.
because
that
they've
was
had,
like,
is that like past lives?
yeah,
thing?
sort
Yeah.
of. And so one of the kids, I'll never forget this. They were like, "What is it like, you know, to die?" And this like 4-year-old, 5-year-old, whatever, like kid says, "You die the life you live." I was like,
Uh-oh.
"What?" I know. Which
What
was
does
like,
that mean?
It means I should have died
Like
a long time
eating
ago.
in my closet?
Yeah.
I know. Well, it's like if heaven's an orgy, then I've already done
What?
it.
I
you
mean,
know.
then yeah.
But how
I mean,
profound for like a
that's so
4-year-old. You
profound.
die the life you live.
That doesn't even.
Oh.
That doesn't even. That's
Then
crazy.
I'm just probably like in the bathroom getting ready to go.
Is that it? You're just
all
perpetually
that's
in the
it.
mirror?
I don't know what. I'm
Trying
just
to fix myself.
procrastinating. I'm going to
Yeah,
live
me
forever. There was this horrible, tragic death. This showrunner, this writer that I worked with, his grandson died, and he was only 3.
Oh my god.
It was terrible, obviously, and he drowned. And his twin sister.
It's always
one
a
of the
twin.
triplets-
Why is
I
it
know.
always a twin?
I know.
Sorry.
Well, there were 3 of them. One of them was in the clear. The other one went out to the pool and followed the boy in.
No.
Yes. So they were both on life support.
Oh my Christ.
And she said to her mother, like weeks and weeks, months later, and she said, and Liam was the boy and Isla was the girl. And she said, Liam, she goes, we went up in the sky and they were in a helicopter. And the mom said, in a helicopter. And she said, no. She said, we were up in the clouds and Liam stayed and I came down.
Mhm.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
My old boss, but also my friend, her father was in a coma for like
Oh,
months
yeah?
and then came back and then like died a little bit later. But they would go like after school to do their homework. They just go hang out at the hospital with dad. Like it became so normal that he was just like in a coma. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Right,
like
sure.
life support. And then when he woke up, they're like, what is this? You know, could you hear us? He's like, absolutely. I could hear the conversations. I could hear. It was like sleep paralysis or something. He was like, I heard you. This, like whatever conversations you said, but he was like, he was in there.
Was he trying to, it was frustrating for him?
That's the sleep paralysis. Yeah, she said it felt, her version was like, it was like a dream and he could just listen.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this whole, I don't think it was like this like you're bound. Do
Right.
you know what I mean? It's like he's like off in the distance.
I wonder if I'm too lazy to have like something go on afterward. Like
You
I
just
can't even
feel like
imagine
that's
anything.
it.
I'm
Waking
just
up.
like, it could be this like amazing thing. Like I'm on the beach with sea turtles, but oh no, I'm just gonna sit here and just die. Like I think
Like the lights out.
yeah,
Right.
And what drives me crazy
Like after a really good
is
meal.
at the Laugh Factory when they say "Make God Laugh." I want to make sure
What
not
did
that.
they do?
Whenever there's a comic who dies, it says "Make God Laugh." I want mine to say "Make the dirt laugh."
You just think we're dirt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. I think we're bugs now. I go back and forth between thinking there's something else and that we're bugs.
I like the bug thing. I like
Oh,
that.
yeah?
It sounds kind of Mormon, but I like that we go to other planets.
Do you think we do?
Yeah, there's so much stuff. Like,
Really?
why not? Like,
That's true, maybe.
I'll imagine that.
I think we're like not. I mean, I don't know. I go back and forth. It depends on the day, but I want to think that like you go somewhere. I've watched a million TED Talks on it, and John Cleese does one on
Oh,
past
really?
and
Really?
NDEs, near death experiences.
Oh, yeah.
And he does a TED Talk, something like that. It's some kind of thing. And all these doctors and psychologists, they talk about all their studies. And there are kids. There's one kid who like came out to LA with his mom, and he was an actor in a movie in a past life, and he remembered how he died.
Whoa.
And another kid,
See?
like they didn't wash them off enough or something when they came back.
What?
But like people, talk about. And then there's this other one I was watching the other day. I'm obsessed with death. But
Yeah, me too.
You are?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally obsessed.
So
Yeah,
so
daily.
daily. So
It's
I
not so great.
From the brink.
I've been
I
dead
want
for
it
a
to be
long
great.
time. Yeah. Okay.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
God.
Where did you
No,
go? Did you feel like
No,
you could
no,
fly?
Did you feel like you went anywhere?
No, I didn't. No,
Did your heart? Was your brain dead? Did your heart stop?
no, but all I remember is like after brain surgery, they ask you these questions. I think I've talked about this, Daniel. But anyway, they said, "What's your name and why are you here?" And I said, "Laura Kightlinger and brain aneurysm." And they said, "Okay, and what year is it?" And I said, 2020. And then they said, "And who's the president?" And I just said, "Oh fuck."
Yeah.
And they said,
yeah.
"Yes, good."
Okay.
She's
then
fine, yeah.
But anyway, no. But I didn't mean to bring that back to me. So
No,
Bring it back to
Bring
you.
it back. Bring it back.
Effortless.
Yeah.
Are you not
back.
obsessed with death? I think it's normal. I think people are. They just don't talk about it. I am too. And forever.
And also, I was watching this TED Talk the other day on what happens when we die,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized 45 minutes in that I'd already seen it. I watched them over and over. I also
Right.
am obsessed with like obviously true crime,
Mhm.
but also 9/11.
Yeah.
I read about every single day.
Really?
Yes,
What
every day.
part? Like the forensics
the
of
jumpers,
it is fascinating. Yes, the
and,
jumpers.
like, yes, the jumpers.
I'm obsessed with the jumpers.
Also, because I want to think that people die, and the Challenger, the final flight.
You know they lived.
Yes,
and-
I know that they also didn't explode. They went up 76 miles.
Yeah.
And then they
kept
turned,
going.
and then they
yeah.
went 200. So they
Yep.
regained consciousness. They lost
Mhm.
consciousness, and they
Mhm.
regained consciousness.
Mhm.
And then I'm hoping that when they hit the water
That
at
was it.
240 miles an hour,
Yep.
but who knows? They were built for that.
Exactly. And none of the motions after the vehicle broke up, they
Right.
were already going that fast. Like none of that was extreme to cause like a fatal anything.
No, it was the rings, the O-ring.
Yeah.
The
Obsessed.
O2, yes.
Because they think Judith Resnick
Obsessed.
switched on the.
No.
Yes, that's in the
Oh
NASA
yes,
report.
yes,
yeah.
they do. They
Yeah.
do. They do because they know
Not the
that
teacher, but the other
Yeah,
one.
they opened the hatch thing. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher who like won the spot was probably like, they should have picked Bob. I cheated.
But also, you're on the bottom. There's like two levels to the space shuttle. There's
Oh,
like the
really?
flight deck, and then there's like the teacher and the other
Oh.
three or something. Like
bottom?
when you're the specialist or whatever, like they
Right.
were. Yeah, you're underneath them, and I don't think you have windows. So like you're just kind of in this like
Do-do-do.
no.
Teaching it.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
like shake box or
That
something.
is
Yeah.
crazy. I just want to know that people die right away, like with 9/11.
course.
And I read this book, not to brag.
Mhm.
There's this book. I've read a few books on 9/11. I don't know why. Also, because I'm from New York and I knew people, but also I just wanted to know that everyone died
It's so curious.
immediately,
They didn't.
and they didn't.
Have you listened to the 911 calls?
Yes.
And then-
the guy Kevin.
Yeah,
He's like,
Cherry.
I'm not ready to die.
Yes.
And then
Oh,
he
Tell
no.
God to blow the wind from the east or something like
Oh,
that.
I
He
didn't hear
says
that one. Oh, that's my night.
Because then you hear the, and then it stops.
That happened because the fire department kept saying things like, "Okay, hold on, what's the address?"
Yes.
Like what?
And then
in New York,
the-
what's the address?
Yeah.
World Trade Center.
The lady,
Come on.
the 911 operator is probably just doing her best.
Yes.
and she's
Yeah.
like, "Stay calm,
Calm,
sir.
stay
They're
calm.
on
Stay
their
with
way."
me. They're
It's
on the
like.
way.
he's like, I'm on the 100 whatever floor. Like, you know,
Oh.
it's on YouTube. You
Today
can
I
look it up.
watched this thing where
Obsessed.
I know. I don't know why. And it seems like I think it seems morbid. But also the fact that these people were going about their lives.
Yeah.
That these are people like you and me.
Yup.
That like, you know, I saw one jumper on the ground and I can't
In real life?
No.
Oh, on the
Quora.
Yes.
Quora like sends me all the shit.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you.
And today, Quora sent me the thing. Could a jumper have climbed down the Twin Towers? And then there was one guy who climbed like a lot, and then the building collapsed. But I like to think that
While he was climbing.
yes, I think they think so because he was
What?
never seen again.
Sure. Yeah.
But I like to think that they have heart attacks in the air. But everything I've read is that they don't.
See, that's why I think we're bugs.
I think
Because
we're
it
bugs
makes
too.
processing
So
that information
arbitrary.
so much
I know.
easier. You're like,
So
oh.
I just don't want to suffer. I was thinking about Helena Hudgens today, the one who got shot by
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin, and I was like, literally spending a lot of time. This is why I get nothing done. I was thinking. This is why I was late. But I was thinking about maybe she died right away.
No.
But then I remember that someone said this isn't good, and she said this isn't good at all.
Yeah.
And then I Googled, this is a while ago, I
No.
Googled what happens when the bullet enters you and like enters that way. And it is such a slow, terrible. That's why I don't believe in God either.
Because why would you have to go through that?
Why would that happen?
Also, and I hate to say this, but I'm like, there goes the Beetlejuice sequel, right?
I never saw Beetlejuice.
Oh.
What?
I
But
know.
why
worse than
why
9/11.
does there go?
It's so good.
I know. I need to
But
see
you
it.
know, well, the thing with that too, though, with Alec Baldwin saying he was holding the gun and didn't pull the trigger, it's like, well, how the hell, you know? Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he was just holding it. But it's like, come on.
How
and
does
then,
that happen?
Yeah.
Then, like a week later, bragging that your wife that can't stop having kids is
Oh,
having
my
another
God.
kid, and it's just like, you know, that's. I was
Like,
thinking
just
about
lay
the
low.
song of
I
Take the
know,
check and go
right?
home.
I'd like to teach the world to sing. That it was a 70s thing because I was rewatching Mad Men, but I was just thinking, I'd like to give the world a vasectomy.
I mean, we
That
don't
one I'd
need
like
it
to-
anymore. We don't need
the world a vasectomy.
There we go. Yeah, but a lot of people. I mean,
That is also.
why does he keep having
his wife? Well, they had to name this baby now. So this baby
No.
was Ilaria.
Oh,
So
no.
the next one will just be Laria.
Yeah.
Oh my
And then
God.
Aria, and then they're out of letters.
This is
Yeah.
fucking Rhea.
But also, her fake accent. How you say cucumber?
Oh no.
yeah, that was a
How does he
scandal.
it was a total scandal. But the fact that he had another baby, it's like in poor taste.
Yeah.
And they should give the baby to that guy
Yes.
with a mom.
yeah.
And the guy is working on the movie. They're
Yes,
back
the
to
whole
filming.
I thought that was
They're back to
cheesy.
filming.
I just thought, what? Why?
What is
Why
he
would
doing?
you? I don't
Why
know.
would he?
Because they're.
I guess it's money. You know, they're being paid off. But I just thought,
It didn't look that great. I got to be
I
honest.
mean, it's like it looks like a B tier like Western. First of all, Western movies are boring to begin with.
Boring.
But did you see the
They do it on the Warner
CGI?
Brothers lot.
The court or whatever her people put together like a CGI computer reenactment of the whole. Look it up because they showed it in court.
Oh, no.
And then they like lace in Alec Baldwin's interview with George Stephanopoulos, where it's like I held it and I pulled the trigger. You know what I mean? Where they're
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, that
my
doesn't look good.
God.
Why did you do that interview?"
Do you think he pulled the trigger?
I think he probably didn't think the gun was
Of
cocked,
course.
right?
Of
And so
course,
then he
right.
probably might have accidentally handled it that way. Yes, I do. But I don't think he thought he was shooting as much as you're like, I have a gun in my hand and that's just like natural.
yeah.
I don't know.
I was an extra on Westworld
You were.
for just a couple
Finally,
things.
we get to
and
what
this is
matters.
it is. And they 100% gave my gay ass a real gun. They gave
Ooh,
a big
jeez.
circle of dudes. Were all soldiers,
Isn't that
every single one of us.
scary?
And I had a fucking rifle.
Was
like
it
a
scary
big-
holding that?
What was scary was because everybody there was like ex-military because we were all soldiers. That's who they had hired, the actors they had hired. And
Right.
one of the like consultants was also ex-military, like some general, like jarhead, like soldier in line. And they're doing it right. They're all playing war games. And I'm just fucking, I don't have to follow that rule.
Right.
I just
Yeah.
have to follow the like,
Right.
the actor rules and shit. But they gave, and what was intimidating was the guy, I'm sure he was just doing his job, is like, we've all fired a gun here, right? Raise your hand if you haven't. And like, no one did. I certainly wasn't going to be the Lily who was like, I've never fired a gun. So I just rolled with it.
Right.
But sure, like, I didn't fucking know to check is it loaded? And, you know,
Of course.
I mean, I wasn't like bang, bang,
Yeah.
and like jacking off with
It's
it,
a
but
hot gun.
but some idiot gave me a gun
Yeah.
and like
I mean-
100% just sent me off to play soldier.
I feel like it sounds like the way you're describing it as a rifle, the way you just did it with 2 arms. I feel like I would be like, hold on, I can't pick it up.
Well,
Help me. Can I put it on something?
They did
Yeah.
they moved me back from the front line for other reasons, but it was like they did take my gun away from me and they gave me a fucking rubber knife. I was like, how does it go from real gun to rubber knife so
Has
fast?
anyone here not used a rubber knife?
That, no, right? I mean, that's
I've fired a rubber knife. I have.
Yeah.
Liz and I have been on writing staffs, and we were talking about being treated badly.
Yeah.
Like, it's shocking. Like, what?
It's shocking that some people are still walking around and getting paid, and how when I first wrote my book, I met with the PR people, and there was this one essay I wrote about a boss that I had, about 2 people, and I changed their names and stuff. And this one PR person knew exactly who I was talking about, and it was when all the Me Too stuff was happening. And she said, the conversation is going to turn toward the emotional abuse. And you were very brave to write that. And then I remember waking up in the middle of the night and thinking, I'm not brave. I'm not brave. What have I done? I just let this bomb out. Like, what have I done? I'm not brave. I'm not brave. And then she said, would you be interested in turning the conversation toward that? And I said, no. I don't want to be a whistleblower. I want to cancel the book, everything. And then I thought about it for literally 3 minutes. And I just said, yes, I would like to. I want to help other people because I've helped other people get out of situations like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to put it out there. Glamour magazine, I think, was going to do a piece on it. And then they decided at the last minute to do it about, have me write something about dieting.
Oh.
Because they got nervous. It's
Really?
yes, it's so crazy. But what's also crazy is that you think that if someone didn't physically abuse you, then they didn't abuse you.
Yeah.
You know, but you saw it more than I did because I was so, I just thought I deserved it, I think. I don't know.
Well, how about quoting what this person said then?
Oh, the
And
thing.
it's in your book.
Yes.
And I love your book, by the way. Let's plug your book.
Oh, it's
for 2
called
seconds.
Stay at Work Mom
Mm-hmm.
and Stay at Work Mom, Marriage, Kids, and Other Disasters.
Great.
But it is not just about being a mom. It's about being a mom who was born with no maternal instincts. I can't even say the word maternal because my own mother was psychotic. So it's interesting and also good for people who've gone to fat camp.
It's hilarious. The book is really,
It's
so
darker
well
than
done. It's
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you. I really loved writing it. It was an emotional roller coaster. But the thing is that when you contacted me about it, when the Me Too stuff came out, and you contacted me and said that you want to talk about it, and I thought you thought that I had been sexually harassed, and I said, Laura, please don't tell anyone, but I've never been sexually harassed, and I'm really embarrassed. But you said no, the emotional abuse, and everyone in the room, I think, said to you that it was really bad about me. But nobody in that time could. It was like a lobster pot, but nobody in that time could say. Michelle said she read the book with like one eye open because that chapter because it was so bad. But I thought that I was so weak because I would cry in my office or I would go home and cry. And then, it was traumatizing for me. But I also thought, well, this is what you do when you're on TV. But this is, but people who he was so abusive toward, other writers just said, Liz, I have your back if you want to talk about it. It was terrible for you.
But not in the moment. And
No.
that's what I think.
No.
Well, everyone's so scared to lose their job or what?
I guess so. I've never been that way. I've honestly can say that I've stood up for people when they're being abused because I know like on King of Queens, everybody was really shitty to Michelle Nader and I when we started. And this guy, Tom Hertz, they wouldn't let us in the room. They were so mean for no reason.
And like, where does that come? Is it just the culture? Is it you're
it was
new,
like,
they don't like you, you're a woman?
I think that I don't know if they were threatened. There was no reason to be threatened. But yeah, they don't like new people. I don't know what it was, but it was really bad on that show. And I'd never even met these people before, and I'd been doing it for a while. But then
and you're like, it's King of Queens. Come on.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me write my script. They wouldn't let me write my script. And I said, if I can't write for a fat pig and a bitch in Queens, then I'm moving back to New York. You have to let me write my script.
Right.
So I worked my way back in, and then Michelle worked her way back in. And then I said to them about Michelle, I said, you were such assholes. And, I stuck up for her. I like to think I'm pretty authentic. The thing was very like he would diminish people and scream at them and then leave.
And not deal with the
aftermath. So, and it was also when I started, there were like alliances. It was like being on Survivor. And I did not want to, if I said I like your shirt to someone, it meant that I was in their alliance.
Yeah.
Oh my
Other
God.
people.
Yeah. Writing on SNL, I was like a feature.
Oh my
so I
God.
did both. Everything was a click.
That job has
That
to be
sounds
super clicky.
terrifying.
It was really horrible.
Who do you
Toxic.
trust at that? Like when you're in that job, because that's a crazy manic job just to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, what do? You're your own person. Do you try to saddle up with people? Are you like, I need to preserve myself?
No, I didn't even know then because I think I was kind of too young. Didn't even realize and didn't even know what was going on. But
Seems so poisonous.
Very scary.
Elizabeth, for example, a very innocent question that you had, like you think you're connecting with people. What that thing?
Was the thing about the dog?
No, when you said, "Oh, where did you?"
Oh, it was because obviously I was a half hour late here, 45 minutes, because I get lost all the time. I have
okay.
no
Me
sense
too.
of direction.
Same. Me too. Don't worry.
So he came in one day and said, "There's a strange package in my neighborhood, so I can't go home." And I said, "A strange package in West Hollywood? That's weird." And then he goes, "Why do you think I live in West Hollywood?" And I said, "Because isn't that West Hollywood?" And he goes, "No, it's the border." And I said, he goes, "You think I live in West Hollywood because I'm gay?" And I said, "No, I thought you lived in West Hollywood because I'm not from here. And I thought that was West Hollywood." And he goes, "Say the same thing to me." And I said, "There's a strange package and I can't go home." And he goes, "Where? Fat Jewtown?"
Oh my Christ.
So I'm
It's not like you said dead faggot AIDSville. Like
No.
you didn't say. I can say that.
I know. It was totally like, I don't walk around with a map.
Being like a gay man, it's like you need so much acceptance, and then the minute you don't get it, there's like two things that happen: either you roll with it because you've learned with it, or you like are out to kill. I don't understand. There's no
Well,
in between.
It's definitely got to be something with people like when they get that power
Just the
that they
immediate
punch
rejection.
down.
No,
but,
yeah.
but also like why
That was like all the blood drained. And then he sat next to me at the table. And I said a while later when I recovered, I just said, "I can't believe you think I'm fat." And he took my hand. He put his big, veiny, gnarly hand on mine. He goes, and he put his like big blue eyeballs in mine. He goes, "No, you think you're fat."
What the fuck?
So
He's
this
so
was,
it's
you think
so
I'm
creepy.
being homophobic or whatever by saying you live in West Hollywood because you're gay. So you think that I think everybody thinks I'm fat because what? Like that doesn't even, or everybody
That's
judges
so
me because
mental.
I'm,
And he's your boss.
What
I
about
know.
the
So
anti-Semitic remark also saying Jewtown or Jewbird or
know.
whatever he said like
Yeah.
that? I mean,
you fall in
Well,
line.
did you have
He's in a
experiences
room
like
full,
that?
huh?
That's a very blatant, like, I mean, like, that's pretty intense. Like, what do you, because you're supposed to just recover. You're supposed to keep
you
doing
have
your
to,
job.
you have to.
You cannot.
Karen Kilgariff said that I was like a whack-a-mole. And she's been through like worse.
Yeah.
She's, and she's like, "This is the worst I've ever seen."
Really? And
wow, yeah, because she was the head writer on Ellen
And
for a while.
Rosie, yeah.
Oh
and
my
she
gosh.
said they were both like
Oh my God, I want to know everything.
really bad. And she said that she really shut down on that show. She was just completely mummified.
I asked
Oh,
Paige.
I remember when we talked. Because she wasn't on for that long.
No.
I asked Paige Horowitz is a friend of mine, and I asked her because she worked on Rosie too. And I asked her, I was like, I don't ever want to pry on your personal business, but I just saw that you worked on that. I really want to know, was there anything interesting that happened when Tori Amos was a guest? And Paige looked at me, she was like, "That's what you want to know?" She's like,
Yeah, what?
She's like, "No memory. That was a breeze." On that show, no, that was the easiest day probably.
Was it crazy?
She said it was chaotic.
She's
Yeah.
moody, I think.
I
Like
think
everybody's
it's that,
moody, but I
yeah.
think it's like evil,
Well,
maybe.
read the View books and stuff. Yeah, it's
I have it.
Oh yeah,
Ladies Who Punch.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You haven't read it? You
No,
should
I
read
would
it.
love
Walters,
less.
all of it. I read it while I'm blow drying my hair.
Yeah.
But I read like half of it.
Yeah.
But also I memorized it. But
Do you watch the View?
she had a butter desk, Rosie
What?
O'Donnell. Land O'Lakes made her a butter desk once, and she buttered toast from her desk.
like it was made of
made
butter?
of butter. They had to get in there when it was really cold and film really
And you
fast.
would-
and she was
what?
like making buttered toast with her desk. And I was like,
It's sickening.
that's a giving up that I have never.
That's wild.
I know. And it had the Land O'Lakes lady and everything.
She's also another one I don't understand. It's like, take the check and run. Like, not because everybody hates you, but take that fucking 90s talk show check,
I know, and
go
just
by.
goodbye.
Like, who needs, that's no
It's
one.
like I think with
think
some
she's
people
mean.
the attention is the payment, and if you don't get that,
The money
you
doesn't
don't care.
matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Interesting.
guessing. I don't know.
I think so too. It's a hole they can't fill.
Yeah, and your life, your life has been that, getting a lot of attention, and then suddenly you don't have that, So what do you do?
That's true too. The attention. One of my friends has a friend on the new show, and she said, over the pandemic, apparently he's had to come to Jesus, and he's nice now. He's great, and he's lovely to her. And I was I hate this word, but triggered by that.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, he's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
People don't change like that. Don't say he's come to Jesus and he's nice now. I just went crazy. It's like if someone says my mother and I love each other. If I love, like my mother was a good mother or something like that. Like I just went, I got so angry, and she was so sorry. And then I'm like, people don't just change. So what? So we had to come to Jesus. Who cares? He's abused so many people and ruined so many people's lives, whatever. And then months later, she said that writer went on a different show instead of going back to the second season of his show. And he called her and left the nastiest, most rageful, meanest message she had ever gotten. So I was happy.
I hope she saved that message. Yeah,
I
think
said
too,
that.
It's like the come to Jesus thing is almost like it's more like come to the bank, because I think like at some point even monsters realize like you better like change at least on the surface so that you can still work.
Do you think that he did change? Probably tried to.
Yeah.
I think someone told me that he used to go home at night and take baths and feel terrible and, just feel absolutely terrible about what he'd done. But there were like microaggressions toward me at our 100th episode party. He made a thank you speech and he thanked every single person on the staff and crew, which is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And then and I was talking to our costumer, and someone goes to me afterwards, they go, he didn't thank you.
Mm.
And I didn't even notice because I was I think I had blocked it out because I didn't want to hear him not thank me or something. There was no way that I don't like positive attention anyway. So if someone were to say something nice about me, I would probably not want to hear it. Or just, I wouldn't want to I don't like the spotlight on me, which is why I did stand up. So, but anyway, so the next day he wrote me a text saying that, he forgot to thank his mother and sisters when he won Emmys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always the most important people that you forget. And I was like, well, you're not going to have to worry about that again. And then asked someone for my shoe size and like things like that, like all the time.
Ugh.
So it just was so like that punch kiss thing, that was just exhausting. Just don't bother. But there was a dichotomy. I mean, he was a completely different person. I met him at a wedding when he was doing another show that had just gotten canceled. And we were talking about it and I was such a fan of it. And I was gushing about it, and he was lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard people said, when I was getting a meeting on it, my brother said, I know people whose agent said that unless they're being deported, and even if they're being deported, they should not take a job on that show. But then you get I do miss that kind of money, but it's at such a trade-off. I think if he had come back that last season, I wouldn't go back. I couldn't.
I realized if you're being warned from everybody not to take a job, you probably shouldn't. Like a million years ago when I was writing on Roseanne and having a good time actually. And then I found out that I could go write and be featured or whatever on SNL. Everybody's don't go. It's sexist. It's misogynist. You're going to have such a shitty time there. Don't do it. And I did it anyway. And I did have a bad time. And I was one of the only female writers along with one other gal. But on one of these table reads with everybody, it was a sketch where and were wooing. And the conceit was that lyrics were going to be, really, they were suggestive and were romantic and whatever. And it was getting so vulgar that to be one of the guys, I said, hey, have we said I'd like to give you a pearl necklace? And then everybody laughed. So finally I was kind of in the boys club for a second. And then said, hey, I've got a pitch. How about I punch Laura in the face?
What is that even? What? And that's just in a room. That's at a table read or in
Oh yeah, no. This was just like this is a rewrite session, and it was
Why
all
would he
guys.
Say that?
Because he thought I was putting down the sketch or something, and
what do you even? Doesn't all the blood rush out of your body at that point?
I just kind of got scared. I mean, no one stood up for me, and that's another thing too. I remember the Me Too era. Everybody, like all these actors and writers said, "Well, I would never have let that happen." Or and this was in '94, and nobody said a word. There were a few actors around the table, all males, and male writers. Nobody said anything. They didn't stick up for me, and I was so kind of just chat, like I didn't know what to do. He was right next to me.
Did he apologize?
No, and he was right next to me. So I thought maybe he would punch me in the face. So I got up and went to my room because you just get that kind of aggression.
Yeah.
That kind of
it's terrifying.
Horrible shit right at you.
Yeah. I had that on King of Queens. Michelle Nader and I got there late, and Tom Hertz, this writer Tom Hertz, was supposed to be running the show, and they just like cut him off at the knees. They took away all his power. All of them, they met at his house and like had this like the OG people who I'd never met before in comedy. It was all the like these kind of strange people, very offbeat and not writers really. Some of them, but also very funny. Anyway, I had a script. Someone else took over the show last minute in production, someone who'd been working there for a long time, but had never read anything of mine. And he said, this other guy is going to write your script for you. You can't write it because I don't know if you're a good writer. And I said, you have to let me write my script. And he said, I don't have time. And I said, read my Curb Your Enthusiasm spec. And he said, I don't have time. He said, you have to let this guy write it. So I said, well, you have to let me write it with him. It was terrible. It was so misogynistic and stupid. And then this guy wasn't even a writer. He was a comic, but he wasn't a writer. Yeah. So I sat in my office. I typed while he dictated. And then before we tabled it, I put everything, I rewrote it.
Good.
And then we tabled it and it stayed. And this guy was furious and whatever. But I mean, it had to be, if I'm going to get the money, I want to earn the money. It's so demoralizing. And I'd been doing this for so long. So then we were on the set and we were trying to figure something out. And like his profile was facing me and we were trying to work something out. And I went to pitch something and the guy who was running the show swung his arm up and hit me.
What?
To be quiet. Yes. So I reacted like so. He was a bodybuilder too. He was such a strange man, but he hit me and I saw smile the side of his face. And I went to the AD's office and I called Tom upstairs because Tom was still there and he had not left yet. And he said, quit. And I called my agent and he said, quit. And I said, I'm not quitting because I refused to quit. I'm not leaving. And then I went for a walk and that guy came with me who wrote my script, quote unquote. And he said, he goes, take the win. You got your script. You wrote your script, whatever. And he's like, take the win. You don't have to be pitching on set. And I go, I'm not going to take the win. I go, it's my job.
Yeah.
You motherfucker. But that kind of thing, like he literally hit me. I used to say to myself all the time, pull his hat off and retire.
Yeah. Just so everybody can see that he's bald.
He's bald, bad plugs, all of it. Just fucking pull that Kanga. But the problem, here's what would happen. I would go to pull it off and it would be a struggle. And it wouldn't come right off of his head because his head's so big. I mapped it out. I actually tried it at home and on a basketball. And and I couldn't get it off. I wouldn't be able to. And then it would take so long that he would wrestle me to the ground because you know how he was into wrestling with other guys and a lot. And he would kill me.
Wow.
So it would backfire. Yeah, I planned it though. I mean, it was going to happen. So then I would sit on my hands so that I wouldn't try to do it, remembering how badly it went when I tried.
Well, we're going to have to do it at some point.
That'd be great.
If we see him at something, we're just going to have to do it.
He was even worse on his new show. He fired that woman.
I don't even know what his new show is.
His new show was on CBS. And that's the show that these two women heard me talking about on a podcast, me and Michelle Nader. And they called me at Two Broke Girls and said, we're working on the show and we want to quit. And they told me all these mean, abusive things he was doing. He had become born again and the hours were terrible. He'd scream at them and yell at them and then ignore them. They were completely like sidelined, but had to stay there overnight. And in Long Island, they had to live in like not even in the city. And then they fired and said that they used the excuse that she died to bring in.
Jeez.
And then I said, get out of there. And also don't put anything in writing. Call your agents and quit, but don't put anything in writing because it will be held against you some way because people are terrible.
When we both were working on Two Broke Girls, I found this article on Vulture about how there was so many rape jokes in Two Broke Girls. And so I sent the article to everyone, to all the writers. Do you still have it? Did you?
No.
I was trying to find it. I sent the article to all the writers in the middle of the night.
Did I even get it? Did it go to my AOL?
I don't know because now I wish I had kept it And
I got to find it.
the response from person here in question was, this
What?
person doesn't write your checks.
I'm going to find that email. Can you find it in your outbox?
I can't find mine. I think I
am gonna
erased
find it. Can we find it?
Maybe I can find the article again.
So I would say about King of Queens, people would say, well, he's the reason you have a house. He bought you a house. And I said, first of all, my house sucks. Second of all, I bought my house.
Yeah.
He didn't buy my house. Because it took me a long time to realize that because of childhood stuff, like stuff was paid for, but it was also terrible. But I couldn't give up and quit because I liked the show. But it was like such a toxic atmosphere.
And that it seems like that's a lawsuit. Somebody
That was
actually
a lawsuit.
hits you.
Yeah. I remember the last day there when we ended, that guy came up to me and he goes, Liz, I just want to thank you for everything and for staying. You know, I know we had our little problems. And I was like, when you hit me,
Yeah.
I should have, it bruised my wrist. I should have I had a watch on and it bruised my wrist. I should have done something. And then I felt really dumb for crying like that. I went into the AD's office and I just sobbed. It's that kind of violation where someone just smacks you to keep you quiet.
You have one sibling?
I have one sibling, an older brother who is very smart. He went to an Ivy League school and he's a writer and he moved out here first. And I was totally not smart and didn't do well in school and he wasn't allowed out until I understood my math. So he would beat me over the head with a paper towel and call me a vegetable. But also him being a boy, my family is very...
Hold on really fast. He couldn't go out until you did your homework?
He had to help me.
I see.
But he was
he smart.
teased me in really brilliant ways also. He was very smart.
I'm sorry, I have to interject with the irony of this. So, because Liz and her brother actually were from Jewtown, the boys are set on a pedestal. The sun raises and sets on their ass.
Well,
and I know that from dating a Jewish guy.
Well, we grew up we were the only Jews. And I think that's why we did go to a sleepaway camp where it was Jewtown, Massachusetts. But he was, my dad worshiped him. My grandmother worshiped him. And my grandmother who raised us pretty much because my mom, whatever. And it happens. My grandmother, who was wonderful, raised us, but she was so mean to me a lot. And we were talking about the other day, and my stepmother said it's because she wanted you to do more. She wanted you to, because she was so nice to my brother and he was her idol and everything, but she wanted me to clean and cook and stuff. And I was just a blob and watch TV and ate. So my family is very misogynistic in that way. The men are supposed to make a lot of money and the women are supposed to be less than and have eating disorders.
Yeah.
But it really is. My brother was very favored by my dad.
Right.
I was kind of horrible. When I was a teenager, I stole money from them and stuff, and a lot.
Yeah.
And also I did some, very shady things, but also I reminded my dad of my mother, which was the worst thing possible.
I have a
for
joke
both of us.
about being an uncle and hating my nieces because they remind me of my sister. I'm a bad uncle.
Yes,
what?
that's probably true.
Right?
Yeah.
Stealing from parents. Did you steal from your mom?
No, but I remember, and
you're
I
a
thought
good
this was
daughter.
kind of
Laura's
funny.
good.
Well, no, it was just the two of us. So I was
Even
getting,
better.
I was getting a lot of attention. But I remember, one morning, I took her when I was pretty little, 6 or 7. I took her curling iron, and she was getting ready for work. And I said, I just opened up a store, and I'm going to sell this. So you're going to have to buy it. So she had to buy her curling iron from me.
What?
Did she?
Yeah, she
Aw,
did. She
that's
goes,
sweet.
well, okay, how much is it? And I said $5. And she goes, all right.
That's adorable.
I know. It's a really cute way to
sweet.
hold your mom ransom.
This was my stepmother who I did this stuff to. My real mother actually stole my identity not that long ago.
Shut up.
Years ago.
What?
So she's kidnapped me, whole thing. Anyway.
I know a lot of people that were kidnapped.
By their parents.
Yes.
She was horrible at it too.
Yeah.
And she just did not, it was very scary.
Kidnap you from places, from people,
No,
or just take you?
She kidnapped me from my dad. He didn't have full custody because we chose to live with him because she was very unstable and abusive and everything. And my mom was really dirty and really a very big pig. And she would scratch us and bite us and all that stuff. But my stepmother was beautiful and clean. And I just wanted to be with her and be her daughter and take after her and not have her harass.
Yeah.
But my mom came to pick us up, my brother and I up to take us for overnight for Mother's Day. And she came with her mother who had just been institutionalized. She was still couldn't be around too much electricity. because she had gotten shock treatments.
Dude, people don't
And-
know that like what a state school is.
Oh my God.
Or why we should actually hate Reagan, but like
yes.
But yeah, people don't know people were just plugged into the wall.
Wait a
just
minute.
zapped
Why
there.
couldn't she
was
be
plugged into
around
the wall.
electricity?
She was plugged into the wall, and she wore like a babushka, like a mink hat, and I feel like that like probably like kept her lid on. I don't know, but I guess I wasn't.
But do they really can't be, or it
No, she
kind of
could
just
be, I'm
makes them
sure.
feel
Like,
bad?
I
or,
think she
like,
probably could
reminds
be.
them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably just one of the directions they give you when she comes home.
Oh.
Is that just
And
like
don't put her by a
Yeah,
the
don't-
radio.
And whatever you do, don't plug her in.
But institutionalized, that's just any form of dementia.
I think she had. Yeah, she was
In the
she
old
was in a
days.
thing in the old days.
Yeah.
So my mother, who was not, and we're all like so fucked up. We're all like still so affected. I mean, chemically. But my mom took us out, and she always wanted me and not my brother. And then years later, she said it's because I was dumber. But really, she always wanted me. So she took us out for the night with my grandma B. And we had to stay over at a hotel. And it's this whole long story, but we had to stay over at a hotel or motel. And she took my brother home and said, we're going to go visit some old neighbors. And she lived 4 hours away.
Okay.
And she came back to our town and said, I'm going to go visit some old neighbors with Liz. We'll be back in 2 hours and I'll take you to Baskin Robbins because that's like my brother's
Love Baskin
favorite. I
Robbins.
know.
That shit was
So
good.
he waited outside and I woke up in Philadelphia 4 hours later.
Wow.
And that is why, I mean, I think that's why he still talks to her. I do not.
Oh, wow.
But he left her. So he waited outside. And then my mom made me call my dad and say, I want to live here now. And I didn't.
Whoa.
And she was screaming
How
at
old
him.
were
There's
you?
so much screaming. I think I was like 6 or 7.
Wild. You're just a
And your brother was
baby.
and Jeff was just waiting outside.
I heard my dad say, Kathy, tell him to come inside.
Because he wanted
He waited
ice cream.
outside
He's
for
waiting,
4 hours on the porch.
waiting for ice cream.
That's the most upsetting thing about it. But she was horrific. I mean, it's too much to even.
So okay, because like it's the crossing state lines that's like officially kidnapping.
Now,
right?
yes.
Well, I always have to tell people this because I don't think everybody knows this, but because of Judge Judy, I know this. It's like any kind of missed child support of any kind on any side is retroactively available. So you can sue the shit out of either parent if there's any
Really?
like lapse in child support.
So interesting. I
Retroactive.
have to make a few phone calls.
Infinite. Yeah, exactly. In
She-
perpetuity.
Oh, but she stole a lot. And the joke was that she stole me. But she so my dad's car, she stole from neighbors all the time. And then several years ago, she was at my house and I refused to be home. And months later, my brother was like at her apartment and he saw a credit card with my name on it.
Oh.
And it said, and then she said that she was just doing it for the Marriott points, but she had picked up a piece of mail. But like she would never stayed in Marriott. But it did come in handy for me because we were on our way somewhere and I had to go to the bathroom and we stopped at a Marriott and I just ran through the lobby. I'm a member.
Yes.
So it does have its benefits. But yeah, she just steals and
That's so crazy.
she's in a home now. But I can't believe whenever people's mothers die, I'm like, I'm sorry, it wasn't mine.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
But she is we are completely estranged.
It's been so fun having you.
It's been
I
so. Can I
know.
come back? Because I could talk to you for 7
Oh
hours.
yeah, we have to. We have
Okay,
to.
and we do our
And
thing.
so-
Elizabeth, we have something in common too with
I had
our
brain
brain. Our
surgery
brain's
also, but
not
it's
working.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What
I'm
kind?
fine.
Where?
It was a whole spinal thing. It's a long story, but I'm,
s-
fine.
we're
It
just-
wasn't like brain cancer.
When you go in really fast, when you go in for a procedure like that, are you
Very
like,
scary.
I'm not going to wake up the same person?
It was very scary.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah,
if you're
'cause it's
obsessed
brain
with
surgery,
death, you're
yeah.
like, that sounds worse.
Oh yeah,
than
it was
right?
definitely. I was terrified at the.
I know this sounds like the death episode, but we should have her back to have like a death episode where that's all we talk about.
We have to. I know.
Let's any day.
Yeah.
all
Well,
kinds of death.
yeah, or even I think Elizabeth should have her own segment too, her own part of this.
Because like we could
where
just
we could do
compare like
Do it?
the difference
yeah,
between
absolutely. Also, if we have Elizabeth over more, she won't have to hide from her kids or try to.
I
You know,
won't.
the. Yeah, you can just do your work here.
I'm not even going home to them.
You're going to the
I have
cafe.
to go to no. I have to go to my brother's set because they're wrapping for the season.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
fun.
And I worked there for 10 weeks.
Oh, gosh,
So,
go.
on
Okay.
Shiningvale.
Um,
Oh, cool.
It's good.
Yeah,
Shout out
yeah.
to Shinyville. Wait,
And,
where?
but I wanted you, Elizabeth, please tell us where to get your book.
It's Stay at Work Mom, Kids, Marriage, and Other Disasters.
Mm.
It's essays. It is at
And it's
Amazon. I know it's
amazing.
at
It's
Amazon.
so well done.
And you're so nice.
No,
and
it's so good.
barnesandnoble.com, I think.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All the bookstores.
Amazon, yeah.
She reads books and writes
And
books.
I did it on I listen to books. And yeah. Yeah, and you
Great.
can listen to it. I know.
Did
but
you do the voiceover?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
They had
Cool.
me do it. I don't know why. I could never listen to my voice. But
You
I do
have
think
a
it's
really
better.
good voice.
I feel like when it's, I don't, but thank you. But I feel like when it's the person, and if it's a memoir, it's better.
Who would you have picked? What celebrity would you have picked?
I don't even know.
Really?
I don't even know.
Like with Carol Chan? I don't know. I want like,
Carol
I mean,
Burnett.
she's dead, but
Carol
like someone
Burnett.
old like that. Yeah.
I want-
I love Carol Burnett. That's a whole other.
My dad wrote her fan letters in the Gary Moore days, and she wrote back twice.
Aw.
He has them under the bed like some weird illicit affair.
When,
50s Carol Burnett. Can you believe that?
when I
She's from
wrote my
Texas.
book
Wow.
like 20 years ago, Quick Shots of False
I
Hope,
love your book.
I've always thought to myself, I can't think of anyone who could read it other than Donald Sutherland.
See, that's beautiful.
Because there's just a lot of teenage
We should
girls
have him
stuff.
sing the
Okay.
intro to our song.
Anyway.
Okay.
But-
Thanks for coming over.
Oh my God,
Yay,
thank
Elizabeth
you.
We'll see you
Astrof,
soon.
thank you.
Hey.
Thank you.
See you next
Going.
time. Bye.